By now, you've probably seen the countless videos covering yesterday's Nintendo Direct in your YouTube feed, but yesterday they revealed the trailer for the House of the Dead remake. We covered this a little bit last year. We're here to talk about it a little bit today, but there's one problem that no one is willing to address, and it did not get addressed in the Nintendo Direct, and that is, how are they going to pull off light gun support? What are we drinking
today?
We're
drinking Safety Porpoises by Toppling Goliath. This is a double IPA.
All right, you know the drill. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss one of our bi-weekly uploads, and sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's jump into this thing and see if the Nintendo Switch is capable of pulling off light gun games.
Hey, Sean from the Nerd Lair here, and you're watching Gaming Off the Grid. Now go away.
One of the biggest videos we ever did was when news broke in 2019 that they were going to remake House of the Dead 1 and 2.
Yes.
And ever since then, it has been absolute radio silence. I think since April of 2020, nothing new has came out. Many nights, we found ourselves just wandering around, outside, aimlessly, going, "Is there anyone alive out there?
Where is the remake?
Can anyone hear me?" Titanic reference. But today, at the Nintendo Direct Indie World,
Yes.
official trailer.
They
for House of the
finally
Dead 1.
So, yeah, that's what's weird is when the rumors came out, it was House of the Dead 1 and 2
Yeah.
remake. I thought it was going to be a bundle, but based on what this looks like, it looks like it's just the first game, and then maybe they're going to release the second game later.
Maybe 2's in the pipeline.
I was hoping it would be like a bundle, which would be badass. But I'm excited that there's finally news.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because like a month or so ago, we were like, dude, radio silence. We were actually thinking about doing a video like, what the fuck, say? Like, where's the game coming?
And we
here
get
are.
comments still to this day on the weekly. Like I said, it's one of the best videos performance-wise we've ever put out, saying, what do you guys know about this? So now there's more information, but there's not much information.
Nope.
So this episode's not as much about the trailer as it is questions that are still unanswered, and we're going to kind of dig into that part of it a little bit. But let's talk about the trailer for a moment.
Yes. The trailer is sweet.
It looks pretty good. I wouldn't say it's complete next-gen look. Everything looks really wet to me. It's got that really wet, glossy shine, but comparatively to what you could play on the home console, which it was not an arcade-perfect port on the Sega Saturn. It's damn good, but it's not arcade-perfect. The Saturn, it wasn't really maybe until the Dreamcast where they could pull that off like each and every time. So getting it a port to play at home is really cool. It looks like or sounds like, rather, that they buffed out some of the voice acting, which
kind of loses the charm for me. But I get it. It's in front of a new generation of House of the Dead fans, so maybe they don't like it. But based on the trailer, it looks like they kept the lines the same. They just changed the voice acting. So, like, what they used in the trailer is at the end of Stage 3, when they finally meet Kyrian.
Yeah.
And so the lines are there, but then when you go back and watch it in the original game, it's like, ooh, I love how campy that is, and so how bad the voice acting is.
We're just going to roll some of the footage so you guys can see the comparison of the two. We'll show the original clip first, and then the new clip from the official trailer.
Kyrian, I must compliment you. I didn't think you could make it this far. However, this is it. Let's see how good you really are.
Not only does he sound better, man, he's been hitting the talks. Okay, that's Botox for you laymen out there. But man, Kyrian, you're looking pretty good.
I mean, to your point, I still prefer the first, but I get why they're touching it up. It does sound a little, I don't know, like not only is it poor voice acting, and it's still kind of poor voice acting, but the audio quality's a little dodgy in the original, so...
I love how, like, in the original, like, it's blowing out the speakers. It's like, so, like, peaking.
Something about that's amazing, but that's not going to be a deal breaker. The deal breaker, I think, is going to be how they're going to handle the controls, and here's what has me a little skeptical, is they're not saying. Whether it be on their social media feeds when asked, or in the trailer, nothing is confirmed. Basically, the announcement today is like modern twist on graphics and control. So what does that mean?
They said they're doing a modern twist on it. It's very weird. So I'm thinking, like, obviously it's announced for the Switch, so they're going to use like the way the Joy-Con works, which kind of is dodgy. And then it makes me think like the Switch is a touch screen, so is there going to be like a touch capability so you can shoot zombies with your finger?
The modern controls made me think that, especially for Switch Lite, you'll be able to kind of touch where you shoot.
But if you do that, how are you going to play it 2-player? You're going to put the Switch down and you both tap?
So we know it's confirmed for the Switch. We know it's confirmed for Steam. That was already announced. And then in the balance, there was a financial statement, I believe in 2020-ish, that had documentation on it that looks like it could be on PS4, Xbox One, and the PS5. That is all up in the air at this point. So what we're working with and what we're really going to talk about is how can this game control on the Switch? Enter the Joy-Con. So we'll roll this back for anyone who maybe is new or just a modern gamer and we're wondering, well, why don't they just have light guns? Most of you probably know this, but if you're new to our channel and a modern gamer, old school light guns don't work on new TVs.
Yeah, they don't.
So you have to insert a different form of technology, and we've seen this done moderately successfully, I would say, with the PS3 and the Nintendo Wii, using different peripherals like the PS Move, the Nintendo Wiimote, to substitute for a light gun. It's not as good as an original light gun.
It still's pretty close.
It is close, and it still is fun, but it's more like there's a cursor, and you can kind of move it, and not quite point and click. I wouldn't say it's that cheesy, but it's not as fun as shooting a real light gun at the screen.
Yeah.
But that's why this is a debate of how they're going to pull this off. You got the Joy-Con, which it's kind of hit and miss. I didn't love how it worked with Mario Galaxy on the 3D All-Stars collection, but there is a game.
Yes.
That does utilize it fairly well in a light gun fashion, and we'll show some footage of this game. It's called Assault Chain Guns KM. It was originally released in 2020, Japanese only. Now it's available for $9.99 on the Switch. This is a very poor man's version of Gunblade New York. That's a classic arcade light gun game.
Which is a sweet game. It basically feels like a clone of that. And I wasn't sure that there was any light gun games on the Switch.
Yeah.
But I played it and I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. Because I was using the gyro on the
just kind of aiming it like this, shooting with the trigger. I think the other buttons work too.
Yeah, and you could use the other Joy-Con to shoot, and then move. It was fun, but it felt weird. And then after a while, it started to get off, and I was like, I kept having to pull my hand higher and higher and higher to get to the top of the screen. It drifted,
so it doesn't seem to have the ability to recenter itself. Now, it is worth noting there are several PlayStation Move and Wii games that are light gun rail shooters, right? Or substitute light gun rail shooters with whatever peripheral you're talking about that do it very well. There's others that don't calibrate so well. So this could just be a game that doesn't calibrate. It could just be the game,
or it could be the freaking Joy-Con.
But it seems to drift and not recenter itself. So if you kind of hold tight and you just kind of...
Small movements,
you're fine. But to your point, if you're going like this and stuff, it doesn't recenter, so eventually you're shooting at the ceiling.
That's how I play light gun games. Yeah. And it feels weird holding it like a Joy-Con. I want a peripheral. I want a gun.
Yeah, you know? But as you guys can see in the screen cap of this game, it can be done. It has been done. Not on a large scale, but it does give me hope, and I really hope someone comes out with a peripheral that you can slide this in, and it's like a handgun or some sort of machine gun or something like that. So can it be done? The answer is yes. Can it be done well? I mean, I think we're kind of up in the air on that at this point because we have yet to see it done really to perfection, but we have seen it done.
Yes, I'm just so worried about how it's going to play, and I'm curious what they're going to do on the other consoles if it ever comes out on the other consoles.
I think the perfect home for this game, to be perfectly honest, I think the only console I care to see it on is PS4 or PS5 utilizing the VR.
VR, yes. And I've heard rumors of that too, but that's not confirmed.
Yeah.
And that would make sense because it's basically like the PlayStation Move and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just very confused how the Switch is the first console they're going to and how it's going to work. But I'm just excited. There's a lot of things I'm worried about, but I'm excited that it's finally happening. But I'm still, they didn't put a date out.
Yeah. I think it's by the end of 2021 is what they're saying. They've said by the end of 2020 last year, so I'm not super
they announced it a year and a half ago.
Dialed in on that. But I guess my main trepidation, I'm excited. I love the idea of new fans coming into the House of the Dead universe because House of the Dead 4, as we mentioned in the prior episode, is getting ready to go offline on the PS3. So those who don't have it downloaded, new generations may not be able to experience that game unless you do it in the arcade. Then the fifth entry in the franchise, House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn, was arcade only up to this point.
Which is a badass experience.
So I feel like, unless you're a House of the Dead enthusiast, you're missing out on these newer games. So I do love that fact. Yeah. My concern is, if this comes out, the primary way to play it is with, if they don't nail this down and it's dodgy, or touchscreen, or with joysticks, you're gonna lose the charm of the game, and you'd be better off playing it on the Sega Saturn or in the real arcades. And that would be such a shame to put the time into a remake if that doesn't work out. There is hope.
Yeah.
Because this works okay.
I just hope they make it perfected so it's not like... I don't want to get it when it comes out and be like, oh, this is awesome, but...
It could have been better.
It's not quite, and I'm like never going to play it that much.
Or it's held back because of a peripheral. That's
what I'm
what's
so
suck.
worried about, because it's a light gun staple. So I'm very cautiously optimistic about this, but I'm excited that there's finally a trailer, and I just hope they get it right, and I hope it would be badass if they just made an add-on peripheral that's a light gun. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it would be badass.
I think the saving grace of this episode is Assault Chain Guns KM. It shows that on some cheap game, I believe it was a mobile game, ported over. It worked okay.
Yep.
I would hope if they put the time into the game, they can get it to work better than okay.
I hope so.
I'm just glad that we found a game that could be kind of a comparison. It's like,
yeah,
dude, it can be done.
Because we hadn't ever experienced a light gun game on the Switch. So it was like, okay, now it's kind of feels kind of...
We're getting there. Yeah. We're getting there. There's hope. I'm optimistic, but I'm kind of keeping it reserved because I gotta see it in action. I gotta get my hands on it. I gotta feel it. Now, I would much rather play the House of the Dead games in the arcades than on the Nintendo Wii or the PlayStation 3, but they did them pretty damn good.
And being able to play them at your house is amazing. Especially Overkill, because that's the only way you can play Overkill.
I'm gonna steal your thunder here. Speaking of amazing, let's talk about this beer.
That's my transition.
Yeah.
This is a Toppling Goliath beer, so I'm super excited. This is Safety Porpoises. It's a double IPA brewed with Citra, Nelson Sauvin, Sabro, Galaxy, and Simcoe Syro hops.
Can you say that Nelson thing again?
Nelson Sauvin.
Nice.
Hopefully that's right. And it's a collaboration brew with Black Stack Brewing. I'm the IPA guy, but I'll let you start.
Toppling Goliath. Anything their name's on, we're going to try.
Yeah.
It's a double IPA. This is a really freaking good beer. One thing I do like about this beer, we have mentioned on the channel before, Toppling Goliath, I feel like, is kind of the king of the class when it comes to pale ales and IPAs.
Yes.
But a lot of them have a very similar taste.
They have a distinct hop taste.
This differs a bit from that. You could have blind taste tested me on this, and I don't know that I would have been like, boom, that's a Toppling Goliath beer.
I would have been like, dude, this is a really high class double IPA.
Yeah.
But I would not have guessed because it doesn't have the distinct taste. But I'm kind of glad that it doesn't.
Yeah, because it's different.
Because it stands apart, and it's a collaboration beer, so that makes sense. But it's so cloudy. It kind of looks like orange juice. It's so smooth.
I don't think there's an IPA fan that wouldn't like this. I do think if you weren't an IPA fan, this one might make you kind of go...
I mean, but I don't think it's that hoppy.
It's not overly hoppy, but I think for someone who,
I guess,
hasn't done 400 beer reviews and drank thousands more.
Yeah, I guess
together,
that's true.
They might think
this beer is so good.
It is really
and
good.
It's just all about being safe. The Safety Porpoises.
Toppling Goliath, world-class brewery. So and they're from Iowa. We have even more of a reason.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's our thoughts kind of on this House of the Dead remake situation. Yeah. A little bit of an update, but more of a deep dive on what they're going to do for the controller, which is yet to be announced, but I do think there is hope. Proof being, if you want to try it out for yourself, it's only $9.99. Assault Chain Guns KM is just that glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel that the JoyCon can possibly pull off light gun games. I don't think it can perfect them.
I think if you're really worried about it and you're excited about this game, that would be a good game to download to be like, oh, okay, it's okay.
I can see how this could turn into something.
It's a good stepping stone, because playing Assault Chain Gun, whatever, KM, whatever it's called, it kind of made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, when I saw modern controls, or whatever the verbiage was there, first thing I thought of was this is going to have to play on the Switch Lite. So they're going to use joysticks to where you can just like shoot with aiming, what is it, reticle is what they call it? Yeah. But I also think there's going to be touchscreen shooting, which I don't care about that shit. I want to be able to shoot at the freaking screen and kill some goddamn zombies. And if it doesn't let me do that, I'm out.
Yeah, if they add the touchscreen and it's not this, they ruined it.
They will have that as an option. They have to. If they put it out, I will lose all faith in humanity that we can do smart things, which I'm starting to get there, but I'm not there yet. Yeah. There's no way they put it out and don't have motion controls. If so, and you watch this, Forever Entertainment or Sega, whoever the hell's on this thing, put it in the freaking bag and don't release it, because you gotta have motion. You gotta have light gun.
Well, that's what I'm
controls.
I'm worried because it says it's available in all the 3 different ways you can play the Switch. You can play it docked, you can play it stand still with the Joy-Cons, and then you can play it handheld mode. If you play it handheld mode, how are you doing motion? But that's one of the options.
Yeah, but if you play it undocked with the DLE wops undone, the driftage can't get too far off, and you're on.
Yeah, but then if you play the handheld mode, is it touchscreen?
Touchscreen or joysticks? Because you can play House of the Dead 3 on Xbox with a controller.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
I guess I've never done that because I don't want to.
It's not fun. I mean, if you're thinking you're missing out on something, you're totally not. But you can, and so that will be an option for sure. I don't know. We got to put a bow on this thing, guys. But it is coming. The House of the Dead remake. We don't know what's going on with 2. I think that's confirmed as well. But
I think that's probably going to be another release later down the line.
One step at a time. One step at a time. And let's hope that if Assault Chain Guns Cam is any indication, that they can pull off the Joy-Con being a mother effing light gun. Because if they can, this is going to be a really sweet game.
I hope so.
All right. We're done.
So.
We're done. We are done here. Time to hit the showers. Time to go shake a tower. We'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Off the Grid. By now, you've probably seen the countless YouTube videos in your feeds about the... By now, you've probably seen the countless... Toast.
House of the Dead.
And Thursday's video. Doing it in one night.
Yep, filming it the night before.
Been a while since we've done this. Be interesting to see if the crowd, when we're done, chants, "They still got it.
They still got it. 30 years later." Not only does he sound better, but I think he's been hitting the talks. Okay. So funny.
You gotta like read been hitting the talks. Botox.
Botox, in case you don't know.
To the layperson.
To the layperson.
To the layman.